Okay, does anyone have a text? Like, you can't hear my speech without a text. You're not gonna hear it without a text. Just kidding, I don't discriminate others based on their appearance and let them into horrible parties with horrible people. Hi, my name is Mendez, and today I will be presenting on a little bit of a controversial topic, but one I think is very important. And that is why you should not join a frat. There are various reasons I believe you shouldn't join a frat, and unfortunately I can't talk all day, so I narrowed it down to 2 main points. My first point is the horrible hazing that happens in frats. My second point is the sexual assault and harassment that many women face because of these organizations. So my first main point was hazing, and according to the University of Michigan, one study has shown that 71% of those who are hazed suffer from negative consequences. Maybe being late is one of those negative consequences. This list of negative consequences is very long. It's even a paragraph long, and I can't say them all out loud because I don't have time for this in my speech right now. But as you can see, it can cost someone a lot of physical and emotional pain when you have hazing. And with hazing comes alcohol. When you drink an excessive amount of alcohol, it can damage a lot to a person. Forcing someone to drink until they can't leave the premise or the property is a horrible thing, and it's something that shouldn't be allowed at all. People have died and they have suffered for the rest of their lives because of these hazing processes. And because they're participating in this, they have to go through it or whatever. And participation might not be the right word because a person cannot consent to any activity while intoxicated, much less agree to be hazed. So that is basically saying everything that's going on in the hazing process, they can't consent to this. They're being abused and humiliated, and they can't consent. They can't stand up for their fellow peers because they're so intoxicated. And according to the University of Virginia, since January 2000, over 100 people have lost their lives due to hazing activities in the United States. Of those, 60 were related to substance abuse, nearly always alcohol. 100 lives or more. That's insane to have an activity be allowed when so many people have lost their lives. One person that many of you might remember from the news who lost their lives is Stone Forbes. He was part of the frat Phi Kappa Alpha, and on March 4th, 2021, they forced him to drink a liter of bourbon. What do you think happens when you drink that much alcohol in one sitting? You die. This kid died because of the hazing process that frats inflict on their people. This isn't something that brings you trust, and it's not something that makes a brotherhood. It's something that costs lives and costs mental, well-being. You might wonder why they are doing this, and it's because they have internalized gender roles where they want to follow for the approval of other men. All these frat guys are gonna hype up their hazing process, say it's such an amazing thing, but in reality, they just want the approval of their men. And think of all the friends you've ever had in your whole entire life. When have you ever had to be abused or humiliated to gain their trust and for you to gain their trust? None of my friends do that, and we're all best friends for life. Lots of people join because of malicious intent, and they like the power that they exceed over younger members. And a lot of these people go through the hazing, so then next year they can do the hazing process towards others, so they can be the abuser instead of the person who's abused. Do you really think that's a great idea? I don't know. And with alcohol comes sexual assault, unfortunately. And according to Christina Ackerman, at least 50% of students' sexual assault involve alcohol. And where do you think the most alcohol is being drunk on campus? The fraternities. It's something that is just unfair to everyone that goes to these things. And these fraternities have nicknames to them because of the stereotypes. Pike Spikes, SAE, sexually assault expected. Why are these stereotypes put in place? Because of how often it happens in frats. Most women in the room if you go to a fraternity, you know these subconscious rules. Keep an eye on your friends, always have your drink covered. It's because it's so expected when you go to fraternities. It's something that shouldn't be allowed though. Like, why are we allowing a club that is known to hurt other people on campus? And studies have found that fraternity men are 3 times more likely to rape women than non-officiated classmates. Most gang rapes reported on campus are tied to fraternities. That's saying a lot. It's a group mentality that has to be ended, because when your frat brothers say something's okay, you unfortunately listen to them. They accept sexual violence and say it's okay because their brothers say it's okay. They have this hush-hush thing that when they see one of their brothers doing something wrong, they're not going to stand up and say something. They're not going to stand up for this woman who is going through this horrible thing. They're just going to sit down and be quiet, and maybe over the years, they'll be the one who's treating these people like this. And according to Jean Girino, studies have found that men in fraternities are 3 times more likely to rape than men who are not in fraternities. There are a couple solutions to this. The first one is to ban frats. Unfortunately, this is something that's not going to happen, but the second solution we can have is to educate and hold your brothers accountable for their actions. Check yourself and check others. Ask yourself hard questions. Do you really want to be a part of a club whose members are 3 times more likely to rape someone? Is that really what you want to be a part of and be proud of that? I don't know. Ask yourself hard questions and educate yourself. Did you know these statistics before joining this club? Because personally, I wouldn't join a club if I knew how many horrible statistics there are to it. Thank you for listening to my speech.